Hey everybody, welcome to Surface Level, a show that takes a look at society's expectations and rejects the ones we don't see it for. All from the perspective of three black queer best friends. I'm one of your hosts, Jordan, and today, Tony, Damon, and I are discussing Capitol Hill and passing bills. What obstacles do black and queer politicians face today? How would politics impact everyday black and queer people if we remove the money from it? This is the legendary House of Representatives. House of Representatives. Today's episode is very special for three reasons. Number one, obviously, this is our second season. First episode of the second season. Very excited to be here.
We're back.
We're back. And
better than ever.
And so much has happened in our personal lives and in the world since the summer. So we can't wait to unpack everything over the course of this season. So if you're a first-time listener, welcome. And if you've been listening to us since season one, thanks for coming back. We love you. Number two, we have a very special guest with us today. Our friend, fellow Howard University Bison, and favorite political strategist, Dorien Blythers, is in the studio today to help us have a better understanding of politics from his perspective as a black and queer man. But we'll introduce him a little later into the show. Lastly, we're excited because it's Friday. We ain't got no job. And we ain't got shit to do. No, seriously. So it's Friday.
Definitely unemployed.
And it is 10:06 p.m. And Joe Biden is currently leading the presidential election with 253 electoral votes.
Come on, Pennsylvania.
The election is all that anyone is talking about right now. So I just want to jump straight into this episode with the three of us sort of reacting to the election so far. Damon, I think I want to start with you. I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts. So what's going through your mind? Let us know. Let us have it.
All right, y'all. Prepare thine ears. You have the floor.
Get ready for the politics of quarantine season.
Good Lord. I gotta go.
Oh, God. I hope Damon and Jordan don't start reading each other back and forth.
We're not. I'm going to leave.
When I think about politics right now, I'd like to start in a positive space. Black women. Thank black women. They are carrying democracy, the Democratic Party, America on their backs. Kamala Harris coming onto Joe Biden's campaign and helping him raise more money than he ever would have fucking did on his own. Stacey Abrams doing the Lord's work, potentially, hopefully delivering Georgia for the first time since Bill Clinton. And like a very personal experience. So I poll worked on election day this past Tuesday, which was, God, it was like 16 hours long. It's crazy. And that needs to be reworked because who actually wants to do that?
No, you're right. Everyone I heard that worked on that day said it was the longest day.
It was crazy.
It was one of the longest days of their lives.
It should be like 2 8-hour shifts and people sign up for it. But you know who does the work? Black women. I was there with a 85-year-old black woman who had worked in every election since the 60s.
Stop lying.
I'm not fucking lying. And she still showed up in a pandemic as an older woman at higher risk being out and was just like, this may be my last time doing it. She was like, I want to hand this off to the younger kids. She was like, but I wanted to do it for this year.
Wow.
And like throughout the day, like there were black women around like my mother's age that, and I mentioned this in my Instagram stories, they were called, like we were there, she's like calling home, she's getting her kids up. She's like, get up, you vote? She's like, go check on her mother, go check on mother, make sure she can come and vote. And it wasn't, I saw this multiple times throughout the day. Like you talk about black women being the backbone of this community. Without them, like...
And the matriarch, don't they mobilize the family? Everybody.
In like all levels of it. So like from the women that we all know to all the nameless women that we may never know.
Right.
Thank black women. I also... Second thing I really am excited about, queer candidates in politics right now. Thinking about Richie Torres, Mondaire Jones going to Congress as black and Afro-Latino queer men representing New York. That's really fucking exciting. Yes. Looking at trans women joining into politics at the state levels in Georgia and in New Jersey. Just really... Vermont and New Jersey. Just really exciting things that in the midst of all the shitstorm and all the negativity about that orange person, that I think that we still need to take joy in the small and exciting moments that are really powerful and are really meaningful. And now for the other part of it.
Oh, all right. Now prepare thine ears. Get ready.
I think that this election really placed a lot of spotlight on the flaming pile of trash that this country can be at times. I believe that for the first time, not just Black people, but people who call themselves allies to us really saw how we feel and live from day to day. And I think it was one of those things where I can't continue to live in a country that tries to piss on me and tell me it's raining.
Isn't that something?
I was watching this.
Some shit?
You try. I know that you're fucking pissing on me, and you're trying to convince me that it's raining. Oh, this isn't really us, guys. Donald Trump is an anomaly, and he doesn't really represent the country. Actually, he represents 65 million people in the country.
Hello.
So please don't try and convince me otherwise. I was watching this clip that went viral of Eddie Glaude, I believe. He's a professor at Princeton, and he had this really, really impassioned monologue, let's call it, on MSNBC. He's a contributor there. Mm-hmm. And he was saying that a lot of times liberals and people in the major cities are like, America, this is not who we are. And he was just like, actually, this is exactly who we are. It's who Black people have been telling you all we are for a very long time. And now that we've gone through all these things, it took hundreds of thousands of people dying. It took Black people marching in the streets for equity. It took everybody losing their jobs. And people still chose racism over it. For the people who are allies to notice that Black people are not just being dramatic in our calls and our disdain and our anger about things that are happening in this country. So that's where I am now. Hopefully, at some point while we're talking, they'll call the fucking election, and we'll be able to call our fellow Bison, Madam Vice President.
Okay, it's Friday.
Yes. Tony.
Damn it. Well, Damon said an earful, but this is Damon's realm. In case you didn't know, for our listeners, I feel like you kind of get the point. Like, Damon is very passionate about matters. But I am in utter disbelief and disgust about how this country showed up to vote for a racist, bigoted, lying-ass shell of a man. This election uncovered just how divided this country really is, because after the last 4 years, and especially after this year, it's like living in the upside down on Stranger Things.
Hello.
Okay. I'm really nervous about where this country is headed, and how deep-seated the hatred is for Black people, and how vain the self-interest is of the people who sit and watch idly by. The fact that you could vote for a man who is given every lewd, crude, and heinous act that is known to man, it's just beyond me. And I want to echo Damon and shout out our Black queens who are saving this country one wig snatch at a time. Protect Black women.
At all
Stacey
costs.
Abrams. Oh, baby, she worked the Georgia polls. She did what needed to be done.
She was at Magic City.
She did what needed to be. She might have been at Magic City telling the girls to register. Okay. But I mean, put that woman in the cabinet. She belongs somewhere at the top of the top. And definitely protect Mother Kamala, because she's going to be sickening as Madame. Madame.
The Grand Dame of America.
I don't even know how else to say Madame. But that's what I'm going to be called. It's going to be Madame. But she's going to be sickening, and we have to have her back. Black women are just unwavering and all-knowing, and will go down as the greatest of all time forevermore. We are not worthy.
No.
And, if we ultimately win the presidency, of course, I'm going to be ecstatic. I'm going to be jumping outside of my body, But I think that it's going to feel like receiving a backhanded compliment almost. Like someone saying, you're cute for a short guy. No, I'm cute because I'm cute.
Hello.
Not talking about me. I'm not short. But
You're not tall.
I think morally, I'm not tall, but I'm definitely not short. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Both are fine. Both are fine.
This is not the episode for that. However, but I do think morally, it won't feel like a win for this country.
No.
You know, just when I think about
They're trying to piss on you and tell you it's raining.
they trying to piss on us and tell us it's raining tomorrow. And I don't like golden showers. Never had one.
Don't like
want
it.
one. I don't invite it.
Mm-mm.
So, you know,
Jordan.
toodles.
I mean, I think that the thing that you guys both hit on is something that's been really bothering me. So like I'm very optimistic about the outcome of this election. But I think what bothers me and sort of what keeps me awake at night is just the amount of the volume of people that Donald Trump has been able to galvanize behind his rhetoric. And I think that for me, I listened to the press conference that he held earlier this week, and he was, talking about how he only wants to count legal ballots, and if we count only legal ballots, then I won. But there's fraud, there's voter fraud going on, and he is communicating that there's a conspiracy going on, and everyone's involved. The media is involved. They're polling, Biden, like they're saying that Biden's going to win certain states before, the ballots are open. So he feels like, his voters were suppressed and couldn't come out and vote because they thought he was going to lose anyway. He thinks that, people are shredding votes, and dead people are sending in their ballots. And he thinks that that is the reason why he's down by, thousands and thousands of ballots needed to win. And I'm nervous for this country because we've seen how this last 4 years have gone. I think that looking back, if we rewind to 2016, I definitely went to sleep before the election announcement was made, pretty confident that I was going to wake up to a Hillary Clinton presidency. And when I woke up, the sheer shock that took over my body was like, what's happening? And I think that from the very day, like even before he, was elected, he's been on this campaign that everyone's out to get him. I mean, he called his 2016 presidency that there was voter fraud going on because he didn't win the popular vote, even though he won the presidency.
Electoral. Yeah.
And I feel like he's been spending his entire presidency setting the stage to basically tell America that this entire system is rigged against him. And I'm worried about the amount of supporters that he has and how he has rabid supporters who are diehard. Yeah. They're like a stan club. And I just feel like he's normalizing a lot of bad behavior. And when it comes from someone in this position of power, I think that it can be very dangerous. So I'm very optimistic about a Biden win, but I'm also very nervous about the backlash of a Biden win. I mean, we live in New York City. We're seeing these shops and these companies and these businesses boarding up their businesses.
I've never seen that.
I think we were in Beirut.
And New York City is a place where you think that, a Biden win would be welcomed.
Right.
But this country is preparing for something, and I don't know what it is, and I'm nervous to figure out what it is.
It's also
Trump is abysmal. And when you talk about the shredding of ballots, the only shredder I know is the one from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he was a rat under the.
Oh yes, what was his name?
Shredder, or was it Shredder? No, it was Master Splinter.
Yes, it was.
But there was a Shredder who was.
Girl, you sound crazy.
No, there was a Shredder.
No, everyone knows Turtles.
Right.
The Shredder?
There was a Shredder.
Well, I don't remember Shredder.
See,
You do remember
We're getting
Shredder.
distracted.
Yeah.
But I know Shredder, I think.
Good.
Yeah, we know Shredder.
All right, Ciao. But no, it's funny too because it shows how stupid he is and how stupid his followers are. Like if you talk about somebody cheating, why would the Democrats cheat to win the...
I was right. There is a Shredder.
There is a Shredder.
Thanks, Mike.
I was like, am I crazy, Mike?
Okay, Tony,
Thank
German,
you
and
for
Shredder.
putting that on the screen
2024.
because we're in the studio and we just needed some evidence. And now we see.
He was fact checking you bitches.
Hello.
So
Fact check us.
Real time fact
be
checking.
clear next time you try to come from me. Damon, finish your statement.
Thank you, Mike.
The MAGA people are stupid. If people were really trying to rig an election, like you don't rig an election to win the presidency, not gain control of the Senate and lose seats in the House. That's fucking dumb. Like that doesn't make any sense. So maybe someone supports MAGA that's listening to this, and I would just like to tell them stop being an idiot.
Well, you know what? I think this might be a good time to actually introduce our guests. What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's bring them on.
All right, let me do the song and dance real quick. Let me school our listeners on who this Black King is real quick. Today, we have a very important guest and friend to the show. His political track record includes having worked as a field organizer for Barack Obama's 2012 re-election and as regional political director for Senator Kamala Harris's presidential campaign, just to name a few. He's currently a political director at End Citizens United, where he leads the national political strategy for electing candidates committed to restoring trust in government and eliminating the outsized influence of unlimited dark money in politics. And to think, it all started at Howard University, where he studied political science and community development. Today, we welcome our very first guest ever, Dorien Blythers, to our Surface Level family.
Hey,
Welcome.
Did I do you justice?
Who found my bio?
Listen, it's called research.
I appreciate that. I'm super excited to be here. I am obviously a Surface Level podcast fan. So,
We love to hear it.
Thank
it
you.
is a special honor to be the first guest of season 2.
And what a time, right?
What a time
Right
to be
now.
alive. Literally.
Right. Like we couldn't think of a better guest to have tonight at this time. So before we get into the interview, Dorien, the three of us know you very well.
Uh-oh.
But some of our listeners may not. So we hired a private investigator and we learned a little bit about you and your background, and we want to clear some things up. Is that
All right,
okay?
let's do it.
I'm just kidding. There are
a couple scandals
We're
we
gonna do
Okay.
we're gonna do like a this or that game. We'll keep the private investigator for later. So you grew up in Atlanta, but you currently live in DC. Where would you rather purchase a home?
DC, for sure.
DC?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Any particular reason? You seem very sure.
I am very sure. This is about wealth building for me, right?
Hello.
Okay.
I
yeah.
know where the
That's an
property
asset.
is going to appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
And Atlanta will always be home,
Mm-hmm.
but DC is where I see my career growing. It's where I see my personal life growing. I love the city.
Dorian's gentrifying the hood, Joe.
I mean,
I want to live in Anacostia. To be clear.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just about priced out. So
Well, we
we'll
all
see.
went to Howard together, and we can all attest to it changing drastically. So I think that, sooner rather than later is probably the best time to buy in DC, because it is really it's a lot of changes happening. A lot of new developments.
Every time we go back to DC, isn't it like
Can't even recognize it.
a
like a
new
Warby Parker on
establishment?
every
And
corner.
it's so pretty. It's so pretty now.
Howard
It's
University's
so-
campus, they have so many things
It's
next
lux,
to them.
It's lux.
to be clear, everything is also boarded up in DC right now.
I'm
Because
sure.
they are,
Well, they built a
they
wall
are
around the White
preparing
House.
for the zombie apocalypse, and it's it's the same thing y'all are seeing here.
I'm
But,
sure it's much worse. All right. So your favorite place in the world is your family's horse farm in Mississippi. What speed of horse riding are you experienced in? The walk, the trot, or the gallop?
Answer carefully.
Is this a trick question?
No, it's the true.
It's whatever
what's
you
the
want
true
it to be.
answer?
Okay, because the true answer is a canter, which is in between a walk and a
I
gallop,
took that
right?
out.
Why?
Yes,
Why?
He's
no,
like,
it's-
I know
no,
horses.
It's in between a trot and a gallop. No.
He's
Yes,
an
in between
equestrian.
a trot and a gallop. Yes, you're right.
So you're at a canter.
At
So-
a canter.
So you're not at,
Because at a gallop, you are risking your life, right?
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
If there's
okay.
a divot in the field or a horse breaks his leg and you are galloping through the pasture,
The girls were breaking their legs mid-run?
mid-run.
If you fall on the
Oh. No, I'm
So
talking about the girls, the
very
horses.
dangerous.
I do a metaphorical gallop.
Talk about it.
Okay, so you got some speed on you.
A little bit of speed.
Oh, that's very white women of you. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go there to go on horse riding.
It's black woman.
Black people ride horses, Jordan.
In what movies?
The Compton Cowboys.
Compton
what movie is
Cowboys.
that?
It's not a movie. That's a real life organization.
Okay,
The-
baby,
the-
I'm talking about media.
The Bill Pickett Rodeo.
What movie is that?
Which is it's not a movie.
Oh.
It's an actual.
Well, how would I
It's
know?
an actual black rodeo that goes on tour
Oh.
every year.
Ooh, I would
Our
love to
producer-
see
Oh,
that.
wait, I saw. Okay, so I know someone who went there and photographed that.
Do you really?
Yes.
We should talk about that.
Yeah, he went to Howard.
Really?
We'll
so
talk
I'm
about it.
trying to source photos of the Compton Cowboys.
I'll let
for
you.
my
I'll give you his
apartment.
Instagram afterwards. Yeah, he definitely was there.
Look at that.
Okay.
Look at God.
Look at
We
God.
love to see it.
All right, next question. What is your love language if you have to pick one? I'm going to say what they are for the listeners, but it's words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, or physical touch.
Words of affirmation and quality time.
I said one.
Right.
Dorien.
You tried it. Stop being so
In that
greedy.
order.
Okay, so words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation.
Okay.
Yeah.
She tell me I'm pretty.
Interesting.
Not even that.
It's
Like,
always the pretty ones that
if you
need
care
to be,
about me,
that need to be
you should
told
say something.
that they're pretty.
Okay,
You love
and
me,
put it in
say
a love
it.
song. All right. Would you rather date someone who's jealous or dramatic?
I think dramatic.
Okay.
I think dramatic.
Okay.
Because the jealousy piece, I think, requires a lot of unpacking, and I don't know that I have the energy to do that. I don't know if that's like
Leave me
You
out
know.
of it.
I mean, I
something
feel
that
like
we
if
can
you're
get over.
jealous, you're dramatic.
That could be the case. All right. Call or text?
Call, FaceTime.
FaceTime. Okay.
FaceTime.
I need to update these for a more modern person.
For coronavirus.
Quick interjection. I think now that we've been in this like quarantine, like I think everyone's more inept to
FaceTime.
A FaceTime.
I like a
moment,
FaceTime.
or Zoom, what have you.
Yeah, I expect
Not
it.
a Zoom.
Not a Zoom for
Not a
not
Zoom.
for babe, but
Well, yeah, we're not handing out links.
just camera time.
Okay.
Camera time. Camera
Click
time.
on this link at 8:00. Y'all.
Well, you never know what you might need a Zoom for now, child. Come
Oh,
on.
hello.
Hello.
This is not the
That's
episode. That's later in the season.
I recuse myself.
Okay.
Oh, we are talking about politics, aren't we?
Drinks with Rihanna or dinner with Beyonce?
Dinner with Beyonce.
Ooh. That was fast.
Interesting.
Immediately.
The,
Okay.
What do they the
That's a
army?
no-brainer.
What do they call them? The Rihanna.
The Navy,
Navy.
right?
Navy.
The Navy.
The reserves?
No.
The Navy's gonna snatch you up.
Beehive, K-Hive, it's all the same.
There we go. Wine or cocktail?
Cocktail.
Okay. Which liquor?
Whiskey.
Okay. Charisma or luck?
Charisma.
Okay. And lastly, win more and learn less or win less and learn more?
Win more and learn less.
There you go. I mean,
Dorian's a
we love
Republican.
we love to
It's
hear
the victory for me.
Yes.
He's Mitch McConnell.
Got the victory.
Come on. The
For
sweet,
y'all who
sweet-
don't know about Yolanda Adams, get into it. But I think that right now, I just want to thank Dorien for taking the time out to have this important conversation with us. The work you do is such honorable, brave work. And in your field, you can be put under a microscope. And with every move, you're scrutinized. So tell us why you decided that politics was for you.
So the funny thing is, I actually thought I was going to be a wildlife veterinarian.
Yes.
And Damon will remember this from my days in Drew Hall when I was a bio major. But Bio 101 quickly told me that was not in my future.
She wasn't saving
That was not
any
my
animals.
strength.
So immediately you realized.
Immediately.
Okay.
After the first semester. But I mean, we were at Howard at such an incredible time in American history and in Black history with the candidacy and election of Barack Obama, I'm a part of a generation of political activists and operatives who were inspired by President Obama's path and his presidency. And I think it was kind of the culmination of all of those events, right? The first time I stepped foot on Howard's campus, I was the first day of school. It was when we were all moving in. So it wasn't luck, right? It was destined to happen, that I would go there, that I would meet all of you, that I would be there at the time that we were experiencing President Obama's entree into the national political sphere. So.
Right, because didn't he speak at our
freshman convocation?
The convocation.
Yes.
Barack Obama spoke at our freshman convocation, ladies and gentlemen.
Senator.
Get into it.
That was stressful.
Senator.
Medea's also against the
Barack
podcast.
Obama spoke at our convocation. I
Yes.
always remember that.
I was a volunteer. And then they put me in the overflow across the street at the
You know
school to
what?
You weren't in Crampton?
be. I was not.
I got in the School of B seats. I have a picture of him, actually. He was like this far, like really like where you guys are, like a couple feet away.
Damon is rubbing it in.
Yeah.
But so what I would like to ask though, Dorien, because society says that traditionally folks in politics are straight, married, they have kids, all of those things. And we want to know how that affects you and your experience and the obstacles you face as a Black queer person in politics.
Yeah, so I think it's a good question, and it's something that I think about often because there is, this imposter syndrome that we all face, regardless of what your career is, as a young person, as a Black person, as a queer person who's, stepping into the highest levels of your field, getting over that, the question of, whether or not you're adequate and whether or not you're in the space that you're supposed to be in, is something that I've dealt with at very high levels in just my experience. So, right, it's being the only one often that's in the room. It's being questioned consistently by your colleagues, and whether or not the information that you're giving, the strategy that you are advising candidates or organizations to take on is salient or credible, and it's always a challenge for them to get over the first impression, right?
Yeah.
Many people who I work with have never taken direction from or advice from a young Black gay millennial man, and there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that, and I feel that pressure in the work that I do every day as well.
Yeah, well, Damon, Jordan, I don't know about y'all, but it's a single man, and I love everything he just said.
Tony would like to take some direction from a young Black gay millennial.
I can take direction and I can give direction.
Not this episode.
Don't matter. Don't matter.
She's boring.
Anywho, so to pivot really quickly, I want to talk about, and I mean briefly talk about number 45.
Mm-hmm.
He's extraordinarily untraditional as a president. And I cringe at using that word because it does something to me physically. But we want to know, how do you see his poor behavior affecting how politicians present themselves moving forward? Are we going to have folks tweeting at all hours of the night from the Oval Office when they don't like something? Is that going to be the norm now?
I hope not, right? I hope not. But I think that what we've seen is someone who has literally blown the roof off of the house of American politics, right?
Yeah.
Everything is fair game at this point. We have literally watched this president denigrate and attack Vice President Biden's son, his family, right? We have seen him talk about the weight or the appearance of his primary opponents. We have seen him. I mean, the list of grievances that I have with this president and the people who enable him is so long that we would not be able to get through it today just sitting here.
Yeah.
But I think what it has done is it has put everybody else on notice, right? This is about someone who knows how to command an audience.
Yeah.
He has captivated a large, number of Americans, a majority, not a majority because he never won the popular vote. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah.
Actually, and what he's done is he's been able to captivate millions of Americans across the country, and has made them a part of his cult. They hang on to his every word, his every tweet. They are branded right in his paraphernalia, and
that red hat. I have a visceral reaction when I see that red hat, and a whole sea of red hats is just
I
like
hate it.
and it's not going anywhere.
But you know what?
No.
I will say it's good marketing. It is good marketing.
The irony, I was
the
coming.
Red Cross, right?
I was flying
in your
back-
mega hat.
I was flying back from Chicago once, and there was a flight going to like St. Petersburg, Florida, or one of those places where there are a lot of older retirees. And
Florida,
like that upper part of Florida. And there were all these old people, and there was a woman in a MAGA mask. And I was like, the irony of you being an older individual wearing a mask that has MAGA on it.
He sells masks?
Yes, because they be wearing them like when they stage those people behind him at those crazy rallies. They have those MAGA masks on. Isn't that funny?
The ones who decide to wear a mask.
Right, the same people he tells not to wear a mask, they put him, but they can only wear a MAGA mask. But it's disgusting to see him like tear at democracy this week.
Yeah.
It's just like lose gracefully. But I guess there's no more grace.
Well, I mean, it's giving me very much Cersei Lannister, and like
Is the Red Keep? The Red Keep is gonna fall.
She died in that Red Keep, didn't she?
Even like when you're talking about like his ability to like be entertaining and like get the attention, I just always find it weird. Like Tony and I, we both work in television. Like when I actually see him get on Twitter and talk about his ratings as if it's some sort of like broadcast, like telecast, like I'm sorry, like you addressing the country on important matters should not be treated and promoted like the Super Bowl.
It's always about the big numbers.
Right, like my ratings are through the roof. Like you're talking about TV ratings, sir. Why?
You should be
Can we
talking
talk
about the
approval ratings?
230,000 people who have died from COVID-19.
I think it's so crazy.
That was the China virus. China.
Oh, it's China.
He's such a trash box.
China.
Goodness.
Moving on. What's next? Next case.
Well, Dorien,
Yep.
back to you. Mm-hmm. It can be said that most Americans won't vote again until the next general election, which is sad. But if there is one way that you would want Americans to get more involved with politics, what might that be?
So I want to push back on this notion that people are not going to vote until the next general election.
Push back, baby.
Okay.
Because based on the results that we've seen come in this far, right? Thus far, we're looking at the balance of the Senate, which is still up in the air, right? This is still
Special
a question.
election in Georgia.
So it's all eyes on Georgia, where you have Reverend Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, both in highly competitive Senate races that could actually give the gavel to Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, meaning that Kamala Harris would be the deciding vote on a 50-50 breakdown. So what we have to do is we have to treat voting like working out, right? This is something that we do every day, right?
Yeah.
And people have to practice flexing that muscle. We talk about muscle memory. Voting is the same way. You go in, you learn the process, you get to know it. Damon, you were a poll worker for the first time. It shouldn't be your last time.
Not for the first
right?
time. He worked polls.
Right?
Many a poll before.
Jordan, go ahead and say it, Jordan.
Right? But we have
Not
to,
this episode.
you know, like the senior citizen woman that you worked with who knew the system. She understood. She wasn't surprised by the hours that she had to work. Going into, you know, the voting booth has to be the same way for us. We need to get familiar with this process so that it becomes something that is intrinsic for the generations that are going to follow us. And I think that we all have a role to play. Absolutely. And us having this conversation is even a part of us moving the dial.
Right. And Dorien, I'm curious to know what would it mean, because there's going to be a runoff in Georgia, right?
Yep.
And so
January 5th.
And so with that being said, which we kind of know, but it's not official, Joe and Kamala have secured the bag. With that being said, what do you think that does to January 5th? That drives people, doesn't that make it more of a reason for people in Georgia to come out and tear down those ballots, right?
We tear down those ballots. I like that. That's a song that's going to drop this week. But I had this question just in a conversation with my team this morning, was like, if Donald Trump is not on the ballot, does that depress Republican turnout? Since he's been able to bring so many of them who would otherwise just be, you know, party loyalist Republicans, Donald Trump turned out a very unique kind of voter, right? These are not people who were
racist
going to. Well, there's that, right?
I was just trying to be clear about it.
Call it what it is. But people who are, you know, highly uneducated, right? Can you say highly? Can you say highly uneducated?
Yeah, you can say
non-college educated.
But these are people who have not been engaged in the political process. People who, you know, didn't feel spoken to and were looking for something different. What happens when he's not on the ballot? But also, what happens when, you know, the stakes are lower or are perceived to be lower for people who don't understand our civic process and understand the importance, if you know, of us having control of the Senate. Right. If we don't have it, we can't do anything.
And I think people also have to stop thinking about politics as this big esoteric idea that's only tied to the presidency every 4 years. Politics are your roads. They're the stop sign on your corner. They're the 311 number you can call when to get a tree that's fallen down in your backyard. And being involved in voting because of all the down and we're speaking about the Senate, which is technically still down ballot, but when you think about all of the things that speak directly to your community and to your neighborhoods, those things fucking matter. And those things will affect you way more than and if it maybe it didn't feel this way in the last 4 years because the president was so damn crazy and you couldn't escape him. But Joe Biden is going to go be real quiet and do a whole bunch of work you probably won't ever hear about.
I miss when the president used to just be
I'm like, oh, they're making a speech? Oh, let me turn into the speech.
Please go back to that.
So it's just, and when you were saying, how can people be involved? It's just go to a city council meeting. Vote when it's not the general.
Right. But Dorien, I have another interesting question for you, because you're working to get the money out of politics. What does politics look like in your mind for Black and queer people once that happens?
Yeah, so as a political director, one of the things that I do is determine whether or not my organizations are going to invest in a candidate or campaign. We look at two things: credibility, which is, do you know what you're talking about? Are you a credible source on the issues that you're advocating for? And the second thing that we look at is viability, right? We look at money, messaging, and manpower, the 3 M's. And I had an old mentor that would say, you only need 2 out of the 3 to win, so long as one of them is money. We have right? But we've seen that shift because people have been able to transcend, that old political, thinking. And it is...
Like OAC?
Like AOC.
AOC.
Yeah. I was
Like
I was who
AOC.
is OAC?
She was technically funded.
But she,
or like
but,
Donald
like,
Trump,
she had, like,
who got
she
grossly
fundraised less
outspent by Hillary
money.
Clinton.
Well, so the thing is, and one of the things that we encourage candidates to do, and one of the things that we support them with, is raising small dollar contributions. So we are a political action committee, but we are funded by small dollar contributors from across the country with an average contribution of $14. So we're not like a lot of the other big PACs who are funded by corporations or, very wealthy donors. And our candidates, the first time they come to DC and sit in front of PACs and organizations that they want to support them, the first thing that they're asked is, well, can you raise $1 million in a quarter?
Damn.
Right? Think about that. How many people would you have to call?
Yeah.
How many people would you have to phone bank yourself in order to raise $1 million in a quarter?
Right.
And when we think about marginalized communities, people of color, queer people, we don't traditionally have the access to the networks or the capital to self-fund in order to communicate. And you all, being in media and entertainment, understand how expensive it is to go up on broadcast, to go up even on cable or radio.
It's a lot.
So for an individual to have to take on that.
It's a lot. A commercial spot, 30 seconds, 15 seconds.
So it would be game changing if we were able to reform our democracy in a way that prioritized, or even, some cities have adopted public financing so that those small dollar contributors, that are pouring money into, the grandmothers and aunties who are giving $3, $5, those funds are matched so that we're able to level the playing field and bring more folks into the fold so that our representatives are more representative.
I mean, I'm obsessed with the work that you're doing because I feel like it is the Lord's work, But given what you know about politics today, what would you tell your 19-year-old self who is running for Howard University College of Arts and Sciences president today? What advice would you give that Dorien?
Green light campaign.
The green light campaign.
I remember the green light campaign.
So we were a very well funded campaign. If you remember,
did you get that from like Beyonce? The green light?
No, that was John Legend.
Give me the. Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Yeah.
But what would I tell myself? I don't know. I was going through so much at that time, right? Trying to be a public figure.
Yeah.
On Howard's campus. Not being out of the closet.
But can you just quickly, and I don't want to get too deep into this, but just shed a little bit of light of like when you're going for public office, I will say, on like Howard's campus, it is like you are in DC, you are at Howard.
That's what
it's no joke.
That's what Kamala did, right?
Right. We're gonna pull me and Dorien's campaign posters out of the archive and put them in the stories for this week.
Please do. But no, you think that the entire world, right, is right there on Power Hall, which was essentially the student activities corridor. You think that
was Congress.
Right, and the hilltop was the mainstream media. And the fear of something being exposed or you being challenged or questioned in the hilltop, like we were completely engulfed in that.
We were,
which I think it's hilarious. I remember, I think there was a candidate who used to say, Howard is a university, not the universe.
Yeah.
Oh.
Basically saying, like, expand your mind beyond what's happening here on this campus. But
Fast forward 2020.
Right, and we're still talking about it.
Fast forward 2020, and the vice president is about to be a former Howard politician.
Get into it.
And talks about her freshman class representative race.
Madame.
She's French.
MVP. Yeah.
But so Dorien,
Yep.
we love us some Kamala. Speaking of Madame, and she's a shining example of what it means to be bred from Howard University, Black excellence. So, being that you worked so closely with her and got to see the good, the bad, the ugly.
There's no ugly.
She's a politician.
I love how you interjected because I would have it no other way. You better stand up for that black woman. We talked about protecting our black women.
Period.
But what do you wish that people really knew about her? Like, really?
She is incredible. She's brilliant. She is actually the kind of person that you want to spend time with and hang out with. And sometimes you have to remind yourself, oh, I'm at work, right? Yeah. And she will quickly remind you that we're at work, right? Because she is all about the task that's in front of her. She is just so down to earth and just like, she's like with the shits. Like she is, she's an incredible person. She's very dynamic. She loves hip hop. She loves music, right? And she doesn't like, she doesn't hold back.
She doesn't shy away from it.
She doesn't shy away from it because, you know, when you are you know, like we would be in our Chrysler Pacifica. She will probably never ride in a Chrysler Pacifica ever again. Going down the highway and she, you know, essentially hands you the aux cord. Like the expectation, right? The pressure is on 10 because, you know, she just is so about the culture.
What are you playing if she gives you the aux?
Oh my gosh, hip hop. It has to be hip hop,
okay.
Right? So
present day,
anything, any West Coast like rap, little throwback, right?
Okay.
Like just to
like
keep it
like a 90s moment,
right? Because you have to be respectful, right? She's still like, you know a woman.
Play WAP.
Oh,
I love it.
So I did have like a terrifying experience once where, you know, we were making some phone calls and she was using my phone and had her headphones in and I had the City Girls playing I'll Take Your Man, right?
Yeah.
And the music somehow started playing and she's like, you know, into it for a second. And then I am mortified because I'm thinking like the lyrics are about to get really bad, really bad. And she just like, she was so cool. She like took him out. She was like, okay, and slid the phone back. Like, I'm gonna let you take care of that.
I think this is yours.
But just an incredible soul. Like you would want to hang out with her. You all should have her on the show. Like that's the type of
from your lips and God's ears. Because that is Madame. From hints further, that is Madame. But Dorien, we want to thank you so much. We really appreciate you for taking the time to come and grace us with your presence here at Surface Level. You showed up. You have on your Fear of God Kamala Harris 2020
what else
moment, and it looks good on you, I must say.
Or Tony calls it a status symbol.
It is a status symbol, and it. You know what?
What size is yours?
Medium.
You want to switch?
Yeah.
A large. I think it's too big for me.
You think I need a bigger one?
No, I just want a smaller one.
Oh no!
Should have ordered the right
cool
size.
on it.
She said your back looks
we're
a little
not
wide.
negotiating sizes. But Dorien, if you want to let the people know where they can find you, whether it be social media, if you want to give them your page, if you want to let them know what you're doing, what's on the horizon, anything. We want to give you our platform and share our platform with you to promote whatever you would like to.
Appreciate that. So yeah, it's just Dorien Paul on Instagram and Twitter. Twitter is where I try to keep it political. But yeah, Dorien Paul, Dorien with the E. And
Dorien.
Yeah.
Did I get it right?
That's right.
All
Cool
right.
beans.
There you go.
Well,
Akila.
Tony, I'm speaking.
Akila.
I'm speaking.
Dorien, I'm speaking.
You're speaking?
Excuse me,
Mr.
Vice
Blythers.
President.
Mr. Blythers,
President.
I'm
I'm
speaking.
speaking.
And that is all the time we have for this week. If you want to learn more about this topic, please visit us at surfacelevelpodcast.com. Let's keep the conversation going, and you can submit any thoughts you have to us. If you enjoyed this discussion, please rate, review, and subscribe. You can stay updated by following us on Instagram and YouTube at Surface Level Podcast. And remember, stay curious.